Welcome to the Bookkeeper's Support review of the MYOB Accountright. This is version 2019.4, which we're going to go through today. So we start off with our accounts screen, which is our main screen. You can do a multitude of things from here. So you've got the accounts list, which is your chart of accounts. So you can go through here and you can search via asset, liability, equity, etc. Or you can search via text for the name. So let's go petty cash. Okay. You can also use the account number feature. You can use the account name. You can filter by account name and it can come up in alphabetical order. You can filter by type. You can filter by tax code. And you can filter by balance. So there's a multitude of ways to search for something in this screen, which is fantastic. If you're wanting to do a budget for a client, this is where you go. This is your budget. So you can add in from the same amount to the next financial years. So you can effectively go, I'm going to copy that to the following months. Okay, or you can copy the previous year's financial data. So it just gives you a bit of a warning there just because it's a demo file. Okay, and there's nothing for the previous financial year, so there's nothing to bring over. So if you've got a new file, that's fine. Just add in all the details that you want to add for your budget. Okay, and you've got a little shortcut key down here as well. So you can increase, decrease, percentages, all that kind of stuff, or a dollar amount. Okay, just close that window. Okay, so that's your accounts list screen. Okay. You've got the Prepare BAS IAS, which you can do lodge online or you can do it manually. So you can pick the quarter that you want to work with and then you just prepare a statement. And if you're a BAS agent, you should know how to do the setup for that. You've got your transfer money. So this is where you transfer between your internal accounts. From your, say, your bank account and you've paid your credit card, you pay it from here. Or you've gone from your check account to your savings account, and that's you put the date in and the amount. That's if you're not using your bank feeds, which I highly recommend. Here is where you do your general journal for anything that accountants or BAS agents require to be done. Company Data Auditor is the best thing ever. So it gives you a backup date, the last time it was backed up. You can lock the period, you can load the current tax tables. Okay, so loading tax tables is still current. I think that's in the next version that you don't have to load the tax tables. So as you can see here, we've got the reconciliation date of, what date it was reconciled. If it's never been reconciled, it'll tell you right here, okay? Now it doesn't do all accounts, but it certainly does the main ones. And if you reconcile a particular account, once you reconcile it once, it'll pop up in this screen, okay? So then we run a review. Ideally, you want ticks, tick, 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 because then everything reconciles, the reconciled invoices with the linked receivables account, all those kind of things, your inventory, etc. But if it has this question mark, you need to go into display and see what's going on, right? We're only on the 22nd of February today. So if there's something future dated, then we need to know what it is because maybe somebody's transposed a date or put in the wrong information. So that's a really good report there. So you can see we've got transactions dated all the way through. Now these could be 2019, but they could be 2020 because they're up and coming bills that you've got set in, say, your bank to automatically pay. Okay, so that would be a reason why it would be there, and that'd be okay. Okay, tax exception reports. If they've got a question mark, that's a problem. Now, in MYOB, it has to, for a tax, it has to have it's spot on, otherwise it gives you this question mark. Now, sometimes in MYOB also, it gives you a 1 cent difference. Okay, but in here, you can see there's a $1,721 variance. Now, that means somebody's gone in and changed the tax rate to 25%. Right? So in GST, that's wrong, but this is a luxury car tax, right? So you need to double check these details to make sure that they're correct and that the tax is correct and it's not incorrectly calculating, okay? And that goes for your purchases as well. People can because of MYOB, the way that it's set up, you can actually change the tax value without doing a 2-line transaction, which is highly recommended. So as you can see here, 37 cents, $1.20, $1.84, 13 cents. None of them are GST, but you need to double check that they're withholding at the correct amount. Okay. And if there's 1% variance, which often happens in MYOB, then just open the transaction, re-enter so delete the figures that are in there, re-enter the figures, and it should reset itself to a 0 variance, so you should be fine. Tax code exceptions for invoices. And this report is really, really handy because it tells you the default code in the system versus what has been entered on the transaction. And if this is incorrect, the entered code, then you need to go back and either fix your default code because majority is GST or majority is NT, or you need to adjust the entered code. Okay. Now you can, in here, it's fantastic, you can actually modify your filters there. So you can actually make that smaller, make that a bit bigger. You know, you can run that down because they're only small codes, just to give you a bit more space to spread out. Okay. And then when you go back to your filters, it's all beautiful. Okay. So you can see the status, and you can, in here, you could also, in insert and modify, you can tell it which information you want in the columns. Okay. So it's really easy to manipulate and change as you need it. Okay, so it's really important to go through this one as well, just to make sure that everything is coded correctly. You know, like in Victoria, you've got big roads and you've got 3 components. So making sure that not the full component of registration has been coded to GST and things like that, just like your insurance. So there should be part GST, part not. Okay, so, and it's the same for invoice transactions and cash transactions, same report. Okay, it just shows you something different. You can print this off so that you've got some kind of audit to go back to as well. Okay, so that's a company data auditor. Transaction journal is just that. It tells you the transactions of your general, your disbursements, your payroll, your receipts, your sales, your purchases, and inventory, and all of them. Okay, and you can actually display transactions this way as well. And you can search for IDs. These are ID numbers if you happen to know it. Okay. Other things down here, you can create a to-do list, recurring transactions. You can look at your accounts payable, what's coming up, the due date, what needs to be paid, accounts receivable, again, what's due. You've got your recurring sales, your recurring purchases, expiring discount, sales orders, purchase orders, stock level, stock alerts, and contact alerts, so people that you need to follow up for whatever reason. Okay, so then you've got, from there, find transactions. I love this screen because it helps me find stuff that seems to go missing. Okay, so you can search by account, card file, item number, invoice, bill, category, job, payroll category, all of this stuff. Okay, so you can search things out. Let's go to our general account. Okay, and we can search by amount, right? We can filter it by amount, okay, or we can search by amount. Okay, which makes it really easy to find things when you're searching for something in there. Okay, you've also got your advanced feature, which also allows you to find an amount between this amount and this amount, or, you know, and where you want it to look. Okay, so that's really, really handy as well. All right, so that's my go-to for everything. Then you've got your reports, which we'll go through shortly, where you find out where your sent email's been sent to, and your business insights, which can be very handy when you're doing reporting for entities. So you've got your profitability details, your customer analysis, your supplier analysis, and your account details. All fantastic tools, which you can customize as well and go to your accounts list and play with as well. So do have a play around with that. It's fantastic item to work with, especially when you're doing reporting. So then we go to our banking screen. This is where you've got your bank feeds and you've got an in-tray, which is really handy. I'll go through that in a minute. Bank feeds are really easy. You can search for a text or something that you're looking for. You can, if that's already come through, like if you've got a backlog and you need to get rid of things because they've already been reconciled in the system, then you can just hide that transaction. And if you need to go and find it again, you can look for your hidden items between certain dates. Okay, so you can always find things in here. It doesn't go missing, it doesn't get deleted, it just goes to a different place. Okay, so if you've created a rule for bank fees and this is what it's coming up as, that's perfect. Just hit approve. All right, it's going to find matches for you. Now in the 2020 version, it's going to automatically find these for you. So you no longer have to go pay bill, right, and search out for Houston, right? So, and then allocate the payment from there. Let's just say that's that. Okay, so then that allocates that, okay, and then it's done. Okay, if you've got a bill that somebody's paid, again, you can search in here by, you've got the current balance there. Okay, or you can do an advanced search. So they're all your customers. If you've got a customer list of like 100, then you can actually search via this way, okay? And you can find the exact amount that they've paid by. Right, so it makes it a lot easier and you can search them out and things like that. So it's much easier to find things. Yes, I'm going to exit out of there. Okay, but electronic payment, yes, that's correct. Bulk deposit, yep, that's correct. Okay, so it's as easy as that. It really is. If you think it's in there and but you can't seem to see it, maybe the date's out of whack, you know, maybe we need to go back a bit further or a bit further forward to try and find this particular transaction that's been entered. And if you haven't found it, then it's highly likely it's not entered into the system. And if you can't find it as a bill, or if you know, you can use transfer money, you can create a bill rule from here as well, or a transaction rule, which is really easy to use. So you can make it the one account, or you can apply it to all accounts. And then you can also add in specific details. I want it split between this account and this account. I want the memo to be, I want the card to be, and it comes through the bank feed exactly the same every month. So I'm going to leave that, or I'm just going to say rental, and that's all I want it to find. Okay. And then it'll match it up. You can also match it up to the specific dollar amount as well. Okay. So that'll match, and then it'll say rule applied, and like here. So rule applied, approve. Easy done. And you can manage your rules up here. Okay. And you can go to your reconciliation screen direct from here once you've allocated everything. Your in tray. Okay, that's as easy as drag and drop your information, your PDFs into there as well. And they have an email address now that you can actually send it to. So it's a demo file, so I can't really show you that. So this is your spend money. So this is your cash transactions. You know, if you go and pay for something at the service station, $20, and you've paid for it by card and it comes directly out of your bank account that day, this is where you go for your spend money. So it's pretty, you know, you've got the amount, you've got the client or the purchaser, you've got, yes, it's not a bill today, and then you pick whichever account it goes into. And if you have job numbers, you can also apply it to there. Okay, just don't forget to add in the amount and it'll come down. Okay, your memos and change your tax codes. You can also save it as recurring or use a recurring one if that's the case. Okay. Same with the receive money. Again, it's for money that's you know, put directly into the bank account. It's not a payment from a customer. Okay, so again, you can pick the payer, it's cash sale, how much it's for, and then which sales account it's going to, etc. Okay. Okay. Your bank register. Okay, so that brings in a lot of your transactions, and you can code them from here if you want to. A lot of us don't use this anymore because we have the bank feed. Okay, but when you go into your bank feed, if you code it all from here, then that means that your bank feed will pretty much be all green. Okay, then you've got your prepare electronic payments. So that's if you're doing ABA files for employees, you select the electronic payment when you're doing a pay bill, and then you create your bank file from here. Okay, this is where you create your ABA, then you save it, and then you upload it, and it all goes through as one big payment on whatever specific date you choose through that bank account. Okay, so make sure your bank account's correct, and it's not going from electronic clearing to electronic clearing, which I have seen. Okay, and prepare bank deposit. So that's if you've got multiple transactions come in that were paid cash. So client 1, client 2, client 3 have all paid $10. You put it in here, and you're going to bulk deposit it like an ABA file, but it goes into the bank account. Okay, and you just click all the deposits, make sure that the amount you're depositing into the bank is correct, and go record, and just make sure it's the right bank account. Okay. So you can also print and email remittance advices, etc. from here. And again, you've got your transaction journal, and you've got all of these features down here. Sales, you've got your sales register, so you can search out sales. You can search by the client. You can search by the amount. So if I was to go 708, there it goes with the 708. Okay, so if I go, you know, motor, it'll bring up everything motor. Okay, and again in here you can filter by amount, amount due, customer, invoice number, and the same with quotes, orders, open invoices, returns and credits. Again, you've got this filtering option available to you. Okay, you can create a new sale from here. You don't have to go back to your main screen to create a new sale, a standard sale. Okay, so, and depending on the layout that you want, whether you want item layout, okay, for items, descriptions, professional, miscellaneous, time billing, whatever you've got set up for your customized template for your sales. Okay, again, record, you can use recurring, you can save as recurring. Okay, so that's your sales register. Again, enter sales right there. Receive payments. Better off doing it through the bank feed, but you can do it through here as well, and just say that I received this amount of money from this person on this date. Allocate it, record, simple as that. There you saw the close. Print email statements. Again, quite self-explanatory. You can email them. You can say, I want to email all those out, send email. Okay, and you can change the message and everything like that. It's pretty customizable. Okay, time billing, we don't use a lot of this, but you can enter in the timesheets for your staff members, and it will come across. This is just a, yes, I use timesheets for time and billing. So it's just a thing that you need to set up in there. So you can enter the timesheets for each of your employees, and you can go ahead and enter all those hours, and it will come across to your payroll when you do that. Okay, purchases, again, the purchases register is like the sales register. You can search function anything, go back by date, change it to one specific supplier if you want to look for something specific. If you can't find it in here, again, new purchase. Okay, or enter purchase. Two ways of getting in there. And again, you just pick who you want to pick, and you enter in all the details. And sometimes you've got a quote there, so you can just use that purchase, or you can create a new purchase if you're using the quote function. Okay, again, you can change the layout. So if you don't use items, you can change it to service, and there you go. Okay, just make sure your terms are correct. Okay, so that's your pay bills. Is again simple. Just picking up the client that you, the supplier that you want to pay, and telling it when sorry, this is a credit, so you can apply that credit before you pay the amount that's owing to them. Okay. Your in tray, as I said, you send the documents to the in tray, you drag and drop, you upload. It's entirely up to you. And what it does is it reads the document and it will bring in majority of the details. As long as the ABN matches in your system to what they find on the invoice, then all the data will pretty much come through. You've just got to type in the description and make sure that the account allocation is correct, which you can also set up as auto in your card file. Again, prepare electronic payments. If you're paying multiple bills and you're going to use the electronic payment system, this is how you do it. So you just go in and pay your individual bills on electronic payment and then go into your prepare electronic payments. And again, tick what you want and bank file. Okay, and that creates your ABA file. And remittance advices, etc. Okay, payroll. Again, you can enter timesheets from here or in time billing, it's up to you. You can process your payroll from here, which depending on how complex it is to, you know, what you'd like to do. So you've got multiple options there, which is fantastic. I do love MYOB because you can do a weekly one day, you can do a fortnightly the next day, and for the same staff members, you can do a bonus and commission or a monthly payment as well within the month. You don't have to change their calendars like in some of the other ones that you have to do. Okay, so you can also process an individual employee in there. So if you go next, those are my dates for payment, my period start, my period end date. And then you can just go ahead and select the employee and change any of the details that you need to change, obviously. Okay, all right. And then you just record. And if you're registered for STP, which you should be, then that will give you a separate screen to authorize the sending of the payment details to the tax office. And then you can email the pay slips through here, send an email. Okay, so that's print and email and finish. Okay, so payroll's pretty easy. If you're looking at payroll categories and you need to change anything, here are where everything is. So you can create a new one and you can edit it. So to be assigned, must be assigned to an ATO reporting category if you're on STP. Okay, you can print or email again. You can pay your liabilities from here. So that would be any of your deductions, expenses. You can pay your tax from here, your PAYG. You can pay your super from here if you want to, if you're not through the pay super function in MYOB. Okay, you can actually do it from here as just a bulk payment, and you can put it to an electronic clearing, to the electronic file, and do an ABA and upload it to the ATO clearinghouse or whatever super fund you have. Okay, again, you've got pay super here. I don't think it works in the offline file for the, yeah, so that's as easy as literally clicking it, authorizing it, and going, yes, take it out of my bank account and send it off to the relevant superannuation funds. Okay. Inventory, you can build items. So if you've got a client that has multiple items, to build one specific item, like all the nuts, the bolts, the seal, etc., you can use the build items to build that particular product from the inventory that you have. Okay, so inventory items list. So again, you can create a new one and you can again search using those boxes and give it an item number, what the item name is, and then you can start putting in the buy, sell, etc. Information in there. So if I buy, then I put in the buying details, who you buy it from, and what the reorder quantity is, the tax, everything like that, okay, and how it's measured. So that's quite simple to use. Inventory can get quite complicated, so if you're not used to it, please get some training because it can go awry very, very quickly. So again, you can set item prices, you can adjust it if there's spoilage, and a stock take is your count inventory, which is really handy, and you can print that off so your staff members can actually tell you what's there and what's not. Okay, and if there's a difference, you tell it what the difference is, what's on hand versus what was counted, and you change those figures there and adjust the inventory. Okay, again, transaction journal. Cards list. Now this has gotten a lot more available information for you now than what it used to. So you can actually have all these details down here by customizing it. So I can actually take these things off if I want to, or I can leave it all on there. So it's actually good, good review of customers that owe you money because it's all in red, or suppliers, you know, those type of things. So it's fantastic as a to understand, you know, what's going on with your debtors and creditors and stuff like that. And of course, your staff details, you can also customize that to put their address in, okay, so that you've got all of their details in there, and it's a quick search function for you to get information if you need it for the staff members. Okay, and any personal details you want to keep in there. Most of us don't though. Okay, so that is an overview of MYOB. To do everything down here, you've got the availability up here to do extra things as well. Back up your file, you can migrate custom forms in there. You can close your financial year, which I believe they're changing in the next round as well, that you'll just have to close a payroll year. You won't have to close a payroll year. You can import and export a lot of information pretty much from anywhere. So if I was going to import, as long as it's in the same file type, you can import any of this, right? Purchases, received money, sales, tax code lists, timesheets, any of that, okay? So it's a good, a fantastic tool. Again, your list, so it's got your accounts, your cards, your activities, your items, your job codes if you're running jobs, okay? So you can also add in jobs there. Okay, and then you've got your command center, which is pretty much everyone there. Your accounts, your banking, your sales, your time billing, etc. So you've got multiple ways of getting into things. Your setup, your balances, your opening balances, your linked accounts. You know, like freight is linked to freight, and I often look into the payroll one because often that people can muck that up. So just make sure that your payroll for your cashier payments, your check payments, and all that are going to the correct accounts where they're supposed to go, okay? Again, preferences and things like that for your setup, okay? So that's everything there, and have a fantastic day.